Welcome to our first EP collab, man. Oakland Vallejo, the Bay Area stand up. I'm from that town. She from Vallejo. Said let's collab. She said okay. We all should play. Hot potato. Whoever got the hottest vibe in there. Challenges with it. It's me, I'm the best. Like creative players on hunters, no less. The lines in your forehead just told me you stressing. Got G-O-D on me side. Ooh, he blessed me. All the lies they tell it's a vaccine. They're acting it's so bad like it's wrestling. Keep my circle so small it's insane. If you made the cut then you're part of my team. Just like bowling at pint goal strikes no gutter. Attracted to the mind but I like my hooder. She gotta have a pretty face too.
Hello, welcome to the channel. Good evening for those who are in the United States. Welcome. We are here to go over Buying Beverly Hills Season 2, Episode 2. This is a show that I picked up because I had someone who watches my channel who was like, it would be good content since I did the Housewives of Beverly Hills. So that is why we are here. We are going to get into it. Anybody interested in making a donation, have information, suggestions, all of that, look at the bottom of your screen. It should be rolling across the screen for you to see. But we are going to jump into this eventful episode of Buying Beverly Hills, which, it was a lot. I really did expect to be bored watching this show, but I'm really not that bored. So I am grateful because of that, should I say. So where we pick up Alexia, who is also Mauricio and Kyle's daughter. I believe she's their oldest daughter together. But she is upset. She is a newer agent. She got her real estate license. She's really just doing this because Mauricio is big on having family within his company because most of us go to work so that we can support our family. So if that's the case, why not train your family and have them, working with you? Hello, Shayna. Hi. Be sure to subscribe to her channel, to those who are here, or if you're watching our live replay, shout out to the replay gang. Be sure to subscribe to Shayna's channel. She does a good job. She does a very good job. Hello to you as well, Mr. Oso Tenda. And Shayna, again, I appreciate you. I almost didn't do this recap too. I'm on here looking homeless. Like, it's just crazy. There's no lights. So my ring lights got me looking all sorts of three-tone. Anywho, y'all, Kyle's daughter, Alexia, is really, really upset with Joey. As we left off, they have a property on a ranch, but it's not just any ranch. I believe it was like over 300 acres. And it is worth $28 million. Definitely something that I guess in price range aligns with Beverly Hills, but it's a ranch, y'all. It's a good way to make money if you can afford to keep up with something like that. So Joey, who is also an agent, who happens to know Alexia from childhood as well, is somebody who has a company called BZP because Mauricio allows people within the agency to create kind of like their own independent groups, almost like Avon or one of those other types of things that was around Cutco Knives where you're selling stuff and you can create your own team. So that is what Joey has done with BZP. So he's also young, just like Alexia. They're about the same age. So he definitely wants to get his business out there and is eager to do so. But he said he wanted to co-list this property with Alexia because having the Umansky name on his side is good for his company because it makes them look reputable because they're known, the agency, but BZP Group is not quite known yet. So they're arguing because Alexia is mad that he was doing secret rendezvous with clients at the chicken coop on the property. And then he's just being kind of like snide, a little bit sneaky. You could tell he's bothered that the boss's daughter works there, which I can understand, but y'all got to understand, unless you're going to start your own fucking company, people are entitled to train their children, their proteges, or whoever they choose to take over their company. I don't know a parent in the world that wouldn't be proud to have a child following in their footsteps and keeping their company alive. And essentially, though his daughters could potentially become their bosses and things like that, is not really the most negative thing when she's going to be trained in family and Mauricio wants all that. So that's just a side note. But Alexia is upset because he brought business cards and merch, things to advertise the BZP Group. And she's like, I would have done that. Y'all, I worked in sales for over 5 years. And being a female, I think in any form of sales can be extremely difficult. You kind of have to work harder than the men. You just do. You shouldn't. I would have brought my stuff anyway, just in case, to like test the water, is what I'm saying. So I was kind of like, you know, he didn't say she couldn't bring it, but why would he need to tell you that? You're co-listing, you're going to be splitting, the commission. I don't see what the issue is, but Alexia is upset about that. I think because she's new, she just feels like she has to prove herself and feels like every little thing is coming against her. But it is what it is. But Joey does acknowledge after they're arguing, he does acknowledge, and you could tell he has a soft spot for Alexia. He's like, listen, I would not be at this group likely if it wasn't for you. So, he gives her appreciation. But Joey, I'm side-eyeing you, player, because listen, Lil Thug, you was in that confessional as well as with other people, talking about how you just have her on this listing because you want the Amansky name attached to it so it can help you. So whether you view her as valuable, whether you respect her or not, you need her name. So start showing the girl a little bit more respect, please, Mr. Joey. I like Joey too, y'all. Like, of all the male realtors on this show, because Mauricio's just kind of leading it. I don't dislike him though, but Joey, I like Joey. I don't know why. He has personality. So we'll see where that goes, because y'all know that could change. It could absolutely change. So moving on, do me a favor to those here or those who are watching our live replay. Hey gang, Thug Life, please like the video. It's an easy and free way to support our channel, especially if you're unsure if you want to subscribe. Like the video will put creators like me as well as content that you like into your algorithm, so it benefits you and me. So give it a like. But moving on, we did get to see a $20 million house. Man, here's the thing I learned. I was watching something like a documentary on a star who had gone broke. And I noticed that a lot of people come into money. I think it was something on lottery winners or something. I don't know. But people come into money. They buy these ginormous houses and they don't plan to keep that money with them or set a plan, like, to make sure it's okay. You don't always have to buy the biggest house just because you're a billionaire. You don't, especially if you're, an unknown millionaire. But $20 million house, y'all know what the upkeep on that costs, more than some bleach and some pine sol. That's expensive, super expensive. But the house is being sold for Dr. Paul, is it Nassif or Nassif? I don't want to say his name incorrectly and be disrespectful, but he is one of the lead doctors on the show Botched, which is very, very popular. I enjoy stuff like that because I'm a weirdo, y'all. But he is on that show, but he knows Mauricio because they were on the Housewives of Beverly Hills together, seasons 1 to 3. And then Adrian and Paul split up and she left the show and all this other crazy stuff. But I was happy to see that Paul and Mauricio are still friends. And it was interesting to find out that it was Mauricio who recommended Adrian and Paul come onto the show. So I find that to be interesting. He was like, my wife want to do this and I need backup. That's what I personally feel like was happening. But, everybody's different. Anywho, normally the house, because this is a show about selling real estate. So the house is at cost of $20 million. Normally this home could potentially cost more, but based on the state of the current market here in California, which I believe they have had to lower the price just a dash. So what they're going to do is have a special auction where the clients get to put in bids on the property that are much more affordable, but there's like a concierge or, a third party, a company that handles the auction and they get paid as well. But I guess it's a win for the client because they still get to collect the full funds. So anybody who's familiar with this or is familiar with real estate, please comment and explain to us normal folk. Psychology and real estate have absolutely nothing to do with each other. So I can't really speak on that, but it was an interesting concept. I didn't know houses could be sold and auctioned without being foreclosed on. So I definitely learned something watching this. Again, I'm not a homeowner though, so there's just a lot I don't know. But there is no reserve, I guess, with this type of auction. And they said that the home is basically essentially sold online. The house could potentially sell for less than it's worth, but the buyer will still get the proceeds. So that's a good thing. So I was just interesting to see, like, okay, the show's called Buying Beverly Hills, but I'm like, is it just a normal reality show about drama? And then they're like, oh yeah, these people are in Beverly Hills too. No, it's actually like them showing us some of the real estate process, which I appreciate. I also think it makes Mauricio look incredibly knowledgeable, and I'm sure that it benefits his company, especially him on the show protecting most of his clients. Huge benefit. So moving on to the next scene, you guys, we see Farrah. That is Kyla Mauricio's oldest daughter, Mauricio's stepdaughter, and she feels that her job has changed a lot. This is just our, update, because we didn't get much of her in episode 1, and she is now basically an agent, and she's also the director of operations. So, okay, Farrah. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm low-key bored with Farrah. She is, I don't know. I think she's just down, but I don't really care to fully see Farrah, but we'll see if she changes. I could warm up to her. I could definitely warm up. She said, thank you, Naya, showing love before I head to bed like an old head. Listen, Naya, y'all, is on the East Coast. I'm in California, so it's 8:30 for me, but for her, I believe it's 11:30. So good night, sweet dreams, and thug life. We love Naya Green on this channel. I appreciate anybody who supports us, so thank you. And I hope you enjoy your slumber. Moving it along, Sonica, Brandon, and Alexia all meet up. These are all the younger, newer agents. They discuss Sophia coming into the company. And I actually appreciated Alexia's honesty. She was like, I'm actually concerned for my sister working, which makes sense when your sister's sleeping in until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. As an adult, unless you work nights, get the hell up. Get the hell up. Thug life, Daya. I appreciate it, Lord. But I'm not surprised that one of the daughters is sleeping. I feel like Kyle and Mauricio's daughters all have very different personalities. The only ones that remind me fully of Kyle, if I'm being honest, are Sophia and Farrah. The others kind of remind me of their dad a little bit, except Alexia sounds just like Kyle. Like if I were to play their voices in my ear, I would not be able to tell the difference between her and Kyle. Shout out to James Jackson, my friend and co-host for some other recaps that I do, because he was like, I can't do this show. He said, I want nothing to do with it because he can't stand the sound of Kyle's voice. He said he tried to watch the show and it was like hearing a bunch of Kyles, and he said, this is not for me. So shout out to you, James. Sending love to you and good energy. Anywho, they move on, and Brandon says that he has been mostly selling to first-time home buyers, which he says is difficult because they have a lot more fear. I think that was the best way to explain it. I also think that is reasonable. They're skeptical. This is probably the largest loan that anyone's ever taken when it's their first time buying a property. So I totally get that. I never thought that first-time home buyers, though, would be considered or viewed as difficult. I thought maybe they'd be viewed as an easy sale, but again, I was in sales, but not real estate. So it's obviously very, very different. But that's something else that gave us some info. So then we move on, and Sonica, the mess that she is, the reason this episode is titled Not Everybody's Gonna Make It. She, in the last season, broke up with Kevin, who brought her into the Amansky group. She is supposed to be a real estate agent as well. But she says that there's been weird energy with the people in the office since her breakup. So because of that, she avoids going out with them and coming to work. Sonica, I'm trying to find a way to say this because I'm trying not to curse so much on my channel. But if you break up with a man, you definitely need to take your butt to work. And if you're not going to work, you need to be applying for work to be somewhere else where you can work and make money away from him. But if this is the best agency to sell high price listings, one of the best in California and internationally outside of Hilton and Highland, then just do what you can do and go to work. I understand not wanting to come out with the group in recreational activities, because it's like, all right, now I'm hanging out with you. I'm not being paid and I got to see my ex and be in my feelings. But you're choosing to not come to work. Ain't no man, no matter how broken I am, going to take me from making money. And I feel like whether you're a man, woman, trans, whoever you are, that shouldn't stop you from making money unless you're like truly like, I understand taking a day or two, but this girl just stopped coming to work because she says the energy is weird and the vibe is off. That's very immature. And I hope that she does like learn from that. I didn't know what to get from Sonica, but I'm just looking at her now like, girl, come on now. That's shameful. So Brandon, I love, and this is why I love us, if you know, you know, because Brandon, he said, girl, ain't nobody treating you differently. He said that this is in Sonica's head, and if she came to work, then she would know. You have to go to work. You just do. You got to go to work. But they have concerns that some of the agents may not make it with the company just because of where the market is. California is a hard market in general. Businesses struggle here really, really bad. If it's not taxes and laws and permits, it's the pretentious ass customers, especially in certain parts of the Bay Area and definitely Los Angeles, because you get a little bit of everything. So, you know, it impacts real estate a lot when people are paying $3,000 for their rent, which is far less than a mortgage would be for the type of home that they would want. It makes it harder. So I can understand why the market's like that here, just from living here, but I'm sure there's also some deeper financial statistics that I probably don't understand. But that was that. Like the video, you guys, if you haven't already. I appreciate all of you. And hello again to my live replay gang. I always like to acknowledge y'all. Just because we not live no more don't mean we not acknowledging y'all. I always love to throw y'all love, remind you that you are thugs, and send you good energy. So now we're going to drop the bar a little bit for buying Beverly Hills, and we're going to go to an $11 million house in Sierra Mar, which is, according to Ben, the most desired place in Hollywood, in the Hollywood Hills, maybe for a party, maybe for a vacation home. Listen, I've been there. There ain't no parking. One, there's no parking. A lot of the people, it is kind of fun, but the Hollywood Hills is cluttered. And I think that's why we see a lot of celebrities starting to move towards the Valley, and why Calabasas became extra popular in recent years, because there's a little bit more space. But like in the Hollywood Hills, there's not space, but they're still going to charge you all that money because it's like a $10 Uber from Hollywood to get to NBC, to get to Universal Studios. Studio City is nearby, and that's where a lot of business happens here in California for the industry and things like that. So he's selling an $11 million house in Sierra Mar, and the house was originally supposed to be at $15 million, but the buyers are more concerned. Ben is saying that buyers are concerned for cost. As I just explained, the rent in California is some of the highest rent that we have here in the country. How that translates to buying a home, even putting a down payment on a car, things like that are very, very hard for regular people, middle-class people. Me and my husband do okay, and it can be difficult for us. So that definitely is going to impact people coming up with the down payment, the cost for inspection fees, closing costs, like, and whatever else comes with purchasing a home. There's just a lot. Again, any realtors or people studying real estate, anything like that, feel free to comment your opinions and to school us in the comments. I will happily respond. And those who give me some good information, I will pin your comment too, because I like getting the correct information out there. So yeah, people are struggling right now. Also, gas in California is like $5 now for like the average. They told us it was just because it went up. We was paying $10 a gallon damn near at one time. It's just a disaster. So it's strange that they sell a $15 million houses that shape strangely in the hill. But we get to meet Ben's partner and protege, and Joey and Zach also come. And Joey made the point that I just made. He was like, this house is shaped weird. Like, it's very strange. And the property we saw episode 1 with Mauricio and Kyle and all the daughters in that house, like, all the windows that the Hollywood Hills house had did not make sense for the Hollywood Hills, because now you have to go pay for those expensive ass blinds because your neighbors can see you. They're so close. I don't think people realize how close they are. But Joey says the house is shaped weird, so it might be difficult to sell. And Ben has been experiencing extreme pushback from his clients because it's priced too high and Hollywood's cluttered. It's very simple. It's just how it is. And then it's like, can you imagine having a mansion, but then just right down the hill, it could be like tweakers and stuff walking around. Like at nighttime, Hollywood gets weird. So that's what I will say. Moving it along, you guys, the ladies decide to speak on Farrah, a group of ladies, and I believe it's Melissa. I'm still learning some of these people's names, so bear with me, but she is the blonde woman. She kind of threw shade mentioning Farrah and like, is there a date? Like, what's going on? Listen, I understand talking about your people, but if that's supposed to be your friend, I feel like you don't need to be gossiping and like making comments like, is there going to be a date? Especially if you're supposed to be so close with her. But we will come back to that. I just don't. This is why I don't like getting too close with coworkers, because they'll know stuff about your life and then start to be messy and discuss it and bring up extra shit. And that nobody want to deal with that. Who's mature? Anywho, Melissa and Brandon meet, and Brandon brings up the fact that Ben, who is one of our senior agents, unfollowed him. I'm personally am not surprised. For those who don't know, Brandon is an African-American sales agent, which I think is part of the reason, but I will get to that later. Melissa then says that a top agent unfollowing a rookie such as Brandon is actually rude, and she feels that it's immature of Ben. I kind of agree. I think that down to if you go as deep as our government and Congress, any field of work, you can't have and keep the same old dogs there. We're going to complain about the new generation of real estate agents or whatever, and then you're not teaching them to hopefully see if they can do better. Or a lot of people who are older than someone or have more experience, even if it's not an age thing, feel like there's nothing that they can learn from someone who's not as experienced as them. And Ben gives off that vibe. He does. He really does give off that vibe. He also gives me the vibe. I don't think he's racist, but I think he has unconscious microaggressions. But that's a side note. We'll get to that when it comes up. But yeah, I don't feel it's immature to unfollow him, but it's like, when is social media the determining factor in Ben being, mature or professional is my thing. Because I like to be fair. Like, I feel like you can work with people, be cool with your coworkers, but I don't need to have you on social media. I don't need to do that. So, and that's exactly why, because if you unfollow someone, which me, I have a cat, things happen. I unfollow people on accident sometimes all the time. What if that happens to a coworker and then they're like, oh, she's unfollowed me, there's a problem? Like, I don't have time for that. I also think it's good to separate work from home life. Be nice to the people, get to know them, but take your time, because why do you care, Brandon? But apparently Melissa agrees with him. So they move on, and he mentions Sonica and Kevin and the situations with that. And Brandon lets us know and admits that Kevin is a golden boy within the agency, but he says that Sonica needs to come to work. And then we learn from Melissa, she thought that Sonica was going back to Boston after the breakup. Maybe it's not weird energy. Maybe they're just confused, Sonica, on where you're still there, because Sonica was saying people are weird with her, treating her weird. You're breaking up. You're telling them of all your struggles with this man, even though they're still your coworkers. People feel a divide when someone in their friend group has a breakup. And then you told everybody you was going to Boston. So they probably like, this bitch still here? Would she miss her flight? I mean, girl, you got LAX, Orange County, Santa Ana, Long Beach Airport, Burbank, Bob Hope. You have so many airports. Maybe she wants to stay, or I feel like Sonica was lingering, hoping that boy will want her back, and he just don't. Especially, why he gonna want you back after he see you don't want to go to work? That's just how I feel. So moving it along, y'all. We then see Adam preparing to talk to Sonica back at the office. This is where the whole episode got like a little bit uncomfortable. So she comes into the office finally after saying that, and they bring her into the office, and they basically mention some other things. She has not sold a home in a year. What's your purpose? Are they getting paid hourly also? Because how do you call yourself employed as a real estate agent if you haven't sold a house in a year and you're not coming to the office? Now, I actually have a friend whose parents that I grew up with were real estate agents here in the Bay Area. And sometimes they wouldn't sell houses, like especially when I was in high school, the '08 recession crash or whatever happened. And I remember that affected them terribly, but they still were getting out there calling leads, like doing what they had to do to try and generate business to survive. This girl just did not go to work. So it looks a little strange. So they tell her she hasn't sold a house in a year. And they also say that she does not try, which I believe and see. They says that she does not have passion, which I believe and see, and that she should go find something that lights her up. I fired a couple hundred people. I worked in management for over a decade. And when I say, Adam, those were the smoothest words, it is hard to fire somebody because you just don't know how people are going to react. I've had people cry. I've had someone throw coffee on me. I've had all sorts of crazy things. And it's like, usually you're fired for something we told you that you shouldn't do and you did it anyway. So it's just like, sorry. And you're still getting unemployment. So it's like, can you keep your coffee to yourself? But people react differently because jobs are people's lifelines. It's how we survive. So I can understand the emotions of getting fired, but he let her down pretty easy. And I think he brought up points that were valid and to show her, like, listen, this has nothing to do with Kevin and your breakup. But the fact that they've been wanting to fire you, but you just haven't been at work, so they did it because you finally showed up. That's just proof that I do think it was right for her to be terminated. I do think she'll pick herself back up. She's on this platform. She's got social media. If she was able to pass her, licensure for real estate, she's obviously intelligent. So she just needs to, I agree, she needs to find a job, some drive and, find a job that makes her happy. No job's going to fully make you happy, but find something where you can at least, show up. And if dating coworkers, Sonica, is going to lead to you not coming to work, then going forward, don't date at work. I bet you that's the better solution. Anyhow, she runs off crying and it's a whole thing. And even Mauricio's like, it is what it is. But she still does have a shot. They fired her from, it sounds like their group or whatever, but she's still technically with the agency. The final decision is going to come down to Mauricio. So I'm curious to see what Mauricio will do, but this is why they said not everyone's going to make it. That's why the episode is titled this. Moving on along, Farrah is now showing a property. Mind you, just to compare the two, Sonica and Farrah both going through breakups. Farrah still got her happy ass at work. And I don't care for Farrah, but at least she's working. And the reason I don't care for Farrah, I feel like she lacks personality. That's my personal opinion, but nothing she's done that's like bad. But she's showing a property for Dr. Paul with John and Adam. And she lets us know that Faye Resnick, who is not really a good person to mention. She's basically my godmother. Farrah, stop telling people that. She doesn't have the best reputation. But she explains that Faye Resnick designed the inside of the house and Paul picked like the rest of it. But I was dying when the buyer, his name is Ofer, he says the interior design was terrible. He said it's not good. I said, Faye, her plastic surgery is terrible. Her hair choices are terrible. Some other choices she made that I can't say on here legally are terrible. Look at this shit. Anyhow, I thought that was hella fun. I about hollered, but I was happy to see picky buyers. If you're going to buy a property, I feel like housing and cars, the salesperson can only do so much. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that really matter. People are going to be picky when it comes to their home or their car. This isn't just like a ring or something, simple. But yeah, he didn't like the fact that, or the idea of the concierge company of the auction. That's what it's called, a concierge company. Because they're going to be getting 12% of whatever he puts into the home, because essentially the buyer's loan and all of that, who gets everyone paid. And this buyer, Ofer, asks a good question. What is the concierge company doing to deserve this 12%? And that is why he is rich enough to look at a $15 million house. Because when you really get down to the nitty gritty, I was like, the concierge company is not really doing shit but facilitating the office, it seems. Please, anyone in real estate, explain it, because it doesn't look like they deserve 12%. It looks like they might deserve maybe 5, maybe 7%. But that's just my personal opinion, y'all. So Adam, John, Mauricio, and Ben go on a private jet from Beverly Hills to Palm Springs. These fools probably took like a 15-minute flight. And they do so that they can go golfing in La Quinta, which I believe is a property we have seen for those who watch my Beverly Hills recaps, or if you've watched The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in general as a show, you know that Kyle has hosted multiple times at this property. That's where Erica had her meltdown about her fraudulent husband and her, all those crazy things. So while golfing on the property, Dr. Paul Nassif, the property they're struggling to sell, his property comes up, and we find out that there are now 2 offers on the house, but the buyers, neither of them want anything to do with the concierge company. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like the buyers, because they're at a certain caliber of income, and a lot of these people are not first-time buyers, are probably getting second and third opinions from someone, and someone is telling them this is not worth your money. And that's why I want to learn a little bit more about it. I'm very busy, but I do want to learn a little bit more about it. But Mauricio is stressed out because basically he says Paul has to make a difficult choice. And what that choice is he can either choose to stay to his gut and go through the concierge company, go through the auction process, and potentially not find any sales or get way less than he deserves, or he can take or accept the offers of one of these 2 clients, these potential buyers, and not deal with the concierge company. So they're willing to buy the house, but they do not want to do so with that concierge company. Now, I know a lot of people may think like, oh, easy, drop the concierge company, check the offers, and if you like the offer, then you'll get rid of the company, right? But it's not always that easy. Maybe he has a contract with this company to where he cannot just back out, because I'm sure that company would protect themselves, because I have a feeling that a lot of people would want to avoid this process, unfortunately. But Paul can either walk away altogether, or he could make less money. So I'm going to be interested to see what Paul Nassif will decide. It's a beautiful house, though, but too much glass. Like, I like windows. I do, especially being from the Bay Area. Look up San Francisco Bay windows, just beautiful. But that's too much window for me. It's too much upkeep for me. They're struggling to sell it on the market. I'm wondering why Paul doesn't want the property anymore. I hope that someday me or my husband or both of us together become so rich that we could be like, I don't want this house anymore. Let's just sell it. Like, that's the whole fucking house. So I think that's wonderful that he can have that. But Lord, maybe I should have become a plastic surgeon instead of a psychologist. Maybe I should have done that. Anywho, you guys, we are getting close to the end of this recap. I appreciate those who have tuned in. I appreciate my replay gang. Hey, you guys. I definitely appreciate it. We're close to done. Do me a favor, like the video if you haven't already. Share this video. Let people know that B3ST Reviews is here, and we will be recapping. We'll also be premiering our Patreon very, very soon. That will be happening by the end of April. I'm going to start, I guess, putting like censored videos on YouTube, because I do eventually want to monetize, and I'm very, very close. But Patreon is a place where I'll do unfiltered things, reactions, like more without having to stress and worry so much about copyright. Moving it along, we see Melissa and Farrah meet up. Yes, this is the same Melissa who was talking about her marriage, but Farrah opens up about her relationship problems. I guess they do have a pretty decent friendship, except for the fact that Melissa's talking about her business with other people. But she's been having problems with Alex, who we now know today in real time they're broken up. And she basically seems that he seemed disinterested in wedding planning. And because of that, she fell back, and now she doesn't know if she is interested. There's more to this story that Farrah is not telling us. She's pulling a Kyle Richards Umansky. We are tired of your fucking mom. I'm sorry, Farrah. The world is tired of Kyle's lying, avoiding information, omitting information. We're all like really tired of it. So please don't be just like her. If you're going to be on reality TV, you have to accept that sometimes you're going to have to talk about difficult personal things. People give you grace, but why are you broken up? Why didn't you want to marry him? Why weren't you choosing a date? Like, this does not make sense. unless it's rich people problems that my black ass can't understand. But thus far, it just does not make sense. So, Farrah, until you could tell me more, baby, I don't give a damn. I don't. I just don't. Moving it along, back at the La Quinta property, Mauricio's discussing, how he enjoys being married. And he says that the kids are growing up, though, and they're moving out. Their youngest daughter, I believe, is almost done with high school, should be going to college soon. So he says, and then also on top of the empty nesters, situation they're going to have, him and Kyle are so busy individually, it's hard to see each other. Which I wish they'd stop fucking saying that. This couple has been busy for over 2 decades. They've been busy, they've been rich. So don't tell me that your busyness is suddenly the reason for the demise of your marriage. Or don't tell me that having kids that are grown is causing a demise of your marriage when those grown kids still live with you and the other grown kid live down the street. Don't tell me that. Like, it's just really annoying. I wish that they would just talk at us. I get that you don't want to make anyone, look bad, and all of that. But that's the problem I have with Kathy Hilton, Kim Richards, Kyle Richards. I have this problem with this family in general on TV. If you feel you're too rich to tell your full business, if you're so rich that you have castmates that you're threatening, people uncomfortable, there's rumors about you in Hollywood. Hell, Zach said it from his own mouth, going from Hilton and Highland to the agency, people are talking. If it's like that, please don't do this damn show. But I do appreciate him for trying to open up, because Mauricio tried to talk about it a lot more than Kyle. See, he can get away with not talking about their divorce, separation, whatever this bullshit is. He can get away with that. This is a show about real estate, essentially, and more so about his agents trying to make it in his multi-million-dollar company. But Kyla's on a show where she's supposed to discuss her marriage, the Real Housewives, your housewife. So discuss it. It is what it is. They get on my nerves, but more so Kyle. Anywho, they move on from him discussing his relationship to discuss Hilton and Highland. And Mauricio literally says they effed him. He says that 19.6% of the $1 billion the company made in the year that he worked there and sold from them, he profited 19.6% of $1 billion, which is amazing. That's how much business he brought to their company. And he asked them, he said, hey, instead of just paying me, can I just buy stock or a percentage in your company? Which was actually smart. Hilton and Highland was like, no, we don't want you to do that. So he left. They did not fuck him over, from what I got from that. Unless Mauricio can explain to me more, I would love to defend him over the Hiltons. Trust me, I would. But it doesn't sound like you got fucked over. It sounds like your brother-in-law had a company that you were only working at because of off of the strength of your wife, basically, and the strength of his wife. And you wanted to buy stock in that company, but that company is something he wanted to own himself. I believe the Hilton and Highland's also a family company or something like that. The same thing Mauricio was trying to do. And he was just married in. They didn't know they was going to last. So he wasn't fired. They didn't kick him out. He asked for a percentage. They said no. And it sounds like Mauricio threw a fit. He does admit that that's when he started the agency after that. And he says he made a good deal. He made a deal to leave. He also says that in his deal with Rick Hilton, he's promised that he would not recruit and sell to Hilton and Highland customers or agents. I don't know why I feel like Mauricio took his customers, which were technically Hilton and Highland's customers. And I think that's what Mauricio's thinking, because it's clear, and they've discussed this before, that some of the customers he had when he was there came over to the agency. That doesn't mean he stole them per se, but if you say to someone, I will not work with, poach, or any of that to your people, you have to understand that even though these were your customers while you were with that company, you were speaking on behalf of and selling on behalf of that company. So the customers ultimately belong to the company, not you. In this case, he wasn't an independent real estate broker or agent, none of that. He was working for an employer. So that's how it works. He still did that. But Zach steps in, and Zach goes, he believes Mauricio because Mauricio never pitched him when Mauricio left the agency. And if we remember, Zach and Mauricio did work at the agency together. So I felt like that was bullshit. It seemed, at first I was kind of feeling Mauricio, but then when I started to take a second, I had to rewind it, watch a few times. I was like, I don't buy it. If you have to organize your story, you're bullshitting or keeping something out. And it seems like Mauricio and Zach talked, and Zach was like, well, I was never scouted. And it's strange coming from the guy who left Hilton and Highland. I'm just going to view you as a disgruntled employee and not take anything you say for 100%, fact, because you were happy there for so many years. So it does look a little weird. But after we move on from that, Zach then says, well, Rick Hilton hit me up last week offering me equity in the company, which is exactly what Mauricio wanted. And Mauricio says he feels disappointed and betrayed by this. We would never know about what Hilton and Highland did or how they operated if it was not for Mauricio and Kyle and them. So I understand you feel disappointed and betrayed. You were a hard worker, Mauricio. You did your big one. You got your company that's now doing much better, probably than the other company. I feel like you have no reason to be disappointed or betrayed. You're also divorcing the sister. So they don't owe you anything anymore. They just don't. All the kids are grown. So what they do doesn't just fully hurt them. So it's interesting, but I can definitely see why Mauricio and Kyle were together for a little bit. They definitely have similarities. I think they both have a tendency to play the victim role and lack a little bit of accountability. I am by no means, you guys, saying that Rick Hilton is a good person. I've never met him. Do I trust him? No. Do I think he's shady? Yes. But we have to remember there's 3 sides to every story. Mauricio's side, Rick's side, and the actual truth. And then probably some sub-sides from the wives and them fucking cackling Richard sisters. So, it's just what it is how it goes. It happens sometimes. But we have made it to the end of our second Buying Beverly Hills recap. This was season 2, episode 2, titled Not Everyone's Gonna Make It. I'm so sorry you did not make it, Sonica, but as a woman, uplift yourself. Breakups are hard. We have to keep going as adults too. We have to keep going. You can't just not come to work unless you take a leave of absence or notify the proper people. And if you're the owner, tell your customer shit. I don't know. But we are going to be ending this recap. We always end our lives with a song from Also Best, because Also Best is the reason Miss Best Reviews is here. We will be listening to his song from his latest EP, which is a collaboration with Also Best and an artist from Florida named XO Avaca. The EP is titled Sincerely XO and Oso. We will be listening to the song Amen, which is the last song on this EP. I just figure because it's the nighttime and it's positive, we'll listen to it. So let's get into that. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. Please subscribe if you like what we're doing. The channel is growing. We're going to be making positive changes. We're always improving. Be sure to be on the lookout for the Patreon link. If you like music, stay on the channel. We will be having a song review shortly. But other than that, I love y'all and have thy best night.
I was born sick, but I love you, and need to be Get on my knees, I say amen. Counting these stacks, I count any raps. They talking my name as layman. They see me up, they hitting me up. I answer, I'm like, hey man. They asking for money, they asking for cheddar. Ever since they came in. But when I was broke, I had no help, and they all said I was lame man. I sold out the pills for 17 days, and it's time for me to log in. They all just see me as an opportunity, but I just say I fund them. But I'm just doing me, fuck all the foolery. I'm just getting the money. Get on my knees, I thank G.O.D. If it wasn't for him, I would have been O.D. When I was high every day, I was lonely. Everyone mocking me, think shit funny. Yeah, and I locked in my room, yeah, at night. Face to face with a sharp knife. Think about taking my life, but God showed me the real life. Yeah, turn point in, yeah, my life. About I realize that I'm not numb. I owe my life to God. I can still see my mom. She kept me strong.
Feel me? It's awesome. Oh, power to the most high. Got my back when I used to get mad high. Living right with the last thing on my mind. Own afraid of my soul felt dead aside. Oh no, push that aside. Party dangerous, got a nigga so alive. So dangerous, but I think I'm gonna try. Last time for him, I gotta say. I put my marriage on the line, my friends say I'm in the way that I'm acting, they say I'm true. I grew up with no daddy in the house, no guy. My mama stayed home from the house, suicide. But yeah, she was working, but I was hurt. Young and alone, tell me what's like her. Everything's in the past, now I'm close to turn. My faith, keep me alive, that's for certain. Praying to the Lord, it was working. Thought I walked into the light for the darkness. Number 10 on high, number 20. For the best part of me sitting dormant. I never felt the best, now I am the best. Never felt this way in my life. Yes, I fell, now I rise. Got G.O.T. on my side.